Welcome to the second day of the Cambridge English South Asia Partnership Summit. This summit is all about partnership and collaboration. Yesterday, you had the pleasure of listening to interesting perspectives, but today, through interaction and collaboration, we take that first step towards that partnership. Educator Steve Anderson said, "Alone, we are smart, but together we are brilliant." But looking across this room, filled with the greatest minds in the industry, I would say, alone we are brilliant, but together, who knows what history we may create. For today, we may see the birth of a remarkable idea. Today, we might see the start of a wonderful association. Today, well, anything can happen. Before we start the program, I'd like to remind you about the interviews that are happening at the Cambridge English stall. It's the perfect opportunity to share your thoughts on education and language learning in South Asia. Being as accomplished as they are, I could go into hour-long introductions for each speaker. But since you have all the information in your conference booklet, I'm going to keep it very brief. Dr. Nick Saville, Director of Research and Thought Leadership, Cambridge English Language Assessment, will now set the stage for today's discussion. Dr. Saville is the elected manager of the Association of Language Testers in Europe, among other significant roles in several influential organizations. He publishes widely in the field and has recently completed a volume on learning-oriented assessment with Neil Jones. I invite Dr. Saville to kickstart our day with his talk on the ecology of learning.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Let me just get this up. It's disappeared. While that happens, good morning, everybody. I'd like to add my own words of welcome to you all, and I'm really looking forward to a very exciting day working with some of you. This is my second summit. I was here in the first one we had in 2014, and I'm very pleased to be back and see quite a lot of people again who I met then. My job, as you've just heard this morning, is to introduce the themes for the breakout sessions, during which all the hard work is going to take place. But I thought I'd just start by recapping some of the ideas from the inaugural sessions and talks from last night. Last night, for those of you who were here, you remember we heard about the benefits of collaboration and partnerships from different perspectives, from my colleague Saul Nassay, from Cambridge, and a range of voices from India and South Asia. We also heard from Professor Ted Briscoe, who's sitting in the front, about the ways in which machine learning can help us develop tools to support language learning, or what he calls or describes as transforming the language learning landscape. So here's a few words which came up yesterday. Collaboration across the learning landscape to improve outcomes of education. And I'd like you to bear in mind this idea of outcomes is what we're thinking about. But today, I will also develop this through the idea of the ecology of learning. And in so doing, of course, I'm going to address my comments mainly from the point of view of Cambridge English and from the context of assessing English. But you might also think about it from the point of view of assessing and learning other school subjects like maths. And we saw yesterday an example of maths that Saul put up on the screen. And just to remind you, these are the 4 topics which we're going to be looking at: employability, digital learning, and of course the technologies that go with it, teacher development, and research and innovation. And we have a selection of very eminent people who are going to be the co-chairs for these sessions, and we'll be taking you through the discussions which are going to start at 10 o'clock after my session now. I'm going to be involved in the one on research and innovation. But the starting point is the notion of an ecosystem. So have a look at the screen here. Obviously, this originally comes from biology, a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. I've just chopped out from the internet